number one thing for me, to be honest with you, is freedom, man. The freedom I'm gonna have when I can go and take my family on a vacation. I could still work, but take my family somewhere nice and not have to worry about, oh, this needs to get done now, or something's going to happen to me and we're not going to be able to afford this vacation. Or even better, sorry, work's too busy. I have to stay home. I'm the only person who does what I do now. So I have no flexibility. That it's just changing everything. It's spending more time with my family and my kids. So I was actually introduced to Salesforce in 2014 from my child's friend's dad, and he was trying to talk me into being an admin. And I was like, no, he's like, go check out the trail. I probably did like 3 badges, and I'm like, you know what? There's no direction in this. I know he said you can make a bunch of money and it's a good job, but I just didn't have any direction. I was like, you know what? It fizzled out. So I was in tech support. I basically did level 1 and level 2 tech support, where I fixed merchant machines, which is like credit card machines, processors, but also computers, working in integrated systems. And I basically was an emergency nighttime tech support. So imagine any between 4 o'clock in the afternoon till midnight, somebody would call me on the phone repeatedly to see, to fix problems. And that was pretty much my job. Being a full-time parent, I got 6 kids. And so I basically worked every night and I worked weekends. So I spent a lot of time working when my kids spend time with my family. So yeah, I was basically a tech support person. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I grew up in a family, all like my dad owned it a bit. My dad owned a business. His dad owned a business. His father owned a business. Everyone's owned a company in my family, and I've actually owned a couple companies in my life. I think I've owned about 7 now. But the big thing was I always was looking for a side hustle. I'm always looking for something, right? I got kids, family, bills, student loans. So I've been a part of Side Hustle Nation for a really long time. And I was just frustrated at work. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I was just struggling because my boss at the time wasn't letting me move. Like, he wasn't letting me move up. He wasn't giving me the information for the next level. He was just kind of keeping me because no one else was willing to do what I was doing. So then I was literally working and listening to Side Hustle Nation because I have to be stuck at my desk. And Brad came on of Talent Stacker, and I heard him talking, and I was like, man, that actually, he kind of sounds genuine. That's because there's a lot out there. There's a lot of shady stuff out there right now. You know what I mean? Everybody, oh, you can make this money, you can make this money, you can do this. And it's just not, if you go research, it's not legit. And so I listened to Side Hustle Nation, and I heard I work 28 hours and get to spend time with my family and make 200 grand a year. And I was like, man, that seems kind of far-fetched. But even if I didn't make 200 grand and I made 100 grand or 80 grand, but I worked 30 hours a week, game on, right? So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a look. I know what I'll do. He said something about the 5-day challenge. I was like, you know what? I'll go do his 5-day challenge. If I do his 5-day challenge, and I'll go research him, and if he has a bunch of reviews that say, no, he's not scamming people, he's not ripping anybody off, then I'm going to do it. Because you know what? We integrated Salesforce at my company. I was already using Salesforce in my tech support job. So I was like, okay. So I did the 5-day challenge. Craziest thing ever. Do the 5-day challenge. I fixed my LinkedIn. All of a sudden, recruiters are reaching out to me to do Salesforce jobs. And I'm like, I'm 2 days into this. I'm 3 days into this. Hold on a second. Like, I'm not ready for this. I haven't even, I did 2 badges. I'm not ready. Hold on. And so I was like, all right, so I'm getting traction. I'm getting a job. Obviously, it's an investment to work at Talent Stacker, right? It's an investment, and I'm going to tell you, it's worth every single penny. So I thought about it, asked my girl, prayed about it, and then all of a sudden, boom, she's like, you know what, do it, and let's do it together. And I'm like, okay, let's do it together. You got my back on this? Yes. Okay, great. Because obviously with having a family and everything, I need support to be able to do 2, 3, 4 hours of studying a day, or 2 hours of studying, or an hour of studying, whatever. And I just took the plunge, man. And I was like, you know what? I got to change my life. If you have a want to do this, you're going to find a way to do it, right? So I'm going to tell you how I did it, but don't allow what I went through to make it an excuse on why you can't do it. That's don't do that, please. I was very fortunate where I worked a tech support job, and yes, I was pinned to my desk. So at nighttime, I wouldn't get tech support calls at a certain period, and I knew I wasn't going to. So I was caffeinated and ready to go for 2 hours at night while I was working. I would work as hard as I could and as fast as I could through my tickets so I could study for a couple hours while I was working. So I would do 2 hours while I was working. And then in the mornings, I would get my kids ready to go to school, get them off, empty house, just me and the girl. And I would work as much as I could get done. So if I needed to work 2 or 3 hours, I worked 2 or 3 hours. So I would say generally on my days, between my days off working and my times where I was working, I would say I probably put in 20 to 25 hours a week. I also, it was harder for me to work. You know what I mean? I was working, it's a second job. It's a second side hustle job, or if you like, you're working 2 jobs. I treated it like that. I was like, I'm going to do this now. I'm not getting paid at this moment, but I'm going to get paid. So yeah, probably 20, 25 hours a week it's going to take you, I would say, because you have to learn the LinkedIn. You have to learn the Talent Stacker interview. You have to do interview learning. You have to, and then Salesforce. And Salesforce, it is doable. It is easy, but it takes dedication. And you're not going to get it right away. You're not going to get it right away. It takes time. It's like learning it. You know, anybody can learn it, but it's like learning a new skill or learning something. It's like learning how to hit a baseball. So I originally interviewed for the company and they felt like I didn't have enough experience. Put in there that I was not certified when I did the interview. When I had their initial interview, I wasn't certified. So I had worked through Trailhead and I was studying for my certification, but I wasn't ready for the cert. I wasn't doing good on the tests and I wasn't prepared. So I want to be better prepared. So they originally told me no. And then I would say about 30 days after, they reached back out to me and they said, hey, listen, we liked you a lot. We didn't think you had enough experience, but we hired an admin, but we're looking for a junior admin and you sound like you're perfect for the role. And how I got them to stay engaged with me is their recruiter, and I'll give this like a little tidbit for everybody. After the recruiter denied me the job, I sent her an email saying, thank you for the position, thank you for the opportunity to thank you for the opportunity to interview. And I appreciate everything. And then every time she posted a job, because I connected with her on LinkedIn, I posted her job for her. So even if it didn't have anything to do with Salesforce, anything, I just said, hey, this person's hiring somebody. Great company. Because I had already researched the company. It was a good company to work for. So there's no reason why I couldn't help her out. So what they did is they contacted me first, interviewed me early, like the first interview. Then they posted the position. The interviewer actually told me they interviewed 5 other people. But I had basically won the interview originally, and it was just to see it, and basically if somebody else was more qualified, or they just had to cross the T's. I guess company policies, they have to do more than one interview. They can't just interview me and then not interview other people. But I pretty much was told I had the job. It was mine to lose in that interview, and I did very well. And then what happened is I actually had a final interview after they had interviewed everybody with the admin, and he got to pick who he wanted to work with. And at the final interview, he basically in the interview said, I'm going to talk, you'll be hearing from me in a day. And so it worked out really well. The other thing is I was never going back to the office, by the way. My goal was to never, I always had a problem with going to the office because It always took up so much of my time. I'm big into trying to be healthy because I'm older. I'm 38. I'll be 38. So I'm trying to get healthy because obviously tech support, we sit in desks all day doing tech, right? I want to exercise. Well, when COVID hit and we were allowed to work from home for the last couple of years, my life got better. While everyone else, I know a lot of people are struggling, hurting. I started exercising more, started eating better, started spending less money on food. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going back to an office. And that was another reason why I joined Talent Stacker, is because I was like, I know at first I might have to go to the office, but eventually I will work remote because that job is a remote job. So I was like, you know what? And then this company is actually not in the state I live with. I live in Texas, and the company I work for is in Colorado. So no, I'm completely remote for the rest of my career. And I even said that in my in my interview with them. I said, I have a couple, no-goes, and one of my no-goes is I'm not going to come into an office. And they were fine. They were happy. They were like, nope, you can do your job remote. Don't worry about it. The sad thing is it actually says this in the program. It says it. I just glossed it when I did it. Okay. When you download the exam guide, literally look at the exam guide and then hunt down the answers to the questions in the exam guide while you're doing the trail. I downloaded it and I said, oh, great. Didn't look at the exam guide, kept it, breezed over it, and then just went into Trailhead and pounded through badges. Pounded through badges. I need to get through. It's all about getting done. It's all about getting done. It's all about getting done. Found out the hard way, when you do that, you have to go back because you're not going to retain it. And I had to go back, and now I'm redoing badges to pass my certification. I'm redoing badges, redoing it, and actually looking at the exam guide and doing that. The other thing I would tell you is, if I could redo it, I would set expectations of fatigue, meaning I would give yourself a break. It says 10 weeks. Listen, if you work a full-time job and you're working a second job, you have to take your time. 10 weeks is very ambitious. It can be done quicker. It can be done in 10 weeks. But in my opinion, your brain needs a break. You're going to burn out. You're going to be pumped up in the beginning and go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? If I were you, I would go slow and steady like a turtle. Turtle wins the race in this one. Yeah, also don't forget about the meetups on Friday night sometimes. Those are important. Oh, those are so important. Think about it. Everybody's getting hired, right? You don't have a job. You make some friends. You're in Talent Stacker. They know the commitment. They know what it took. They know what you've done. They know your worth. They know what you're about. It's that you got to at least attend one a month. Or if they have one a month, you got to at least attend one. You're paying to be involved with the community. You're wasting your money if you don't do it.